Another amazing weekend of college football games. Don't you love it? This is the most incredible season I can remember. Another batch of results and data points to analyze and review right here at the Voice of College Football in our top 25 all together now. That actually makes sense. Not flawless, not perfect, but it actually makes sense. Can it be debated? Of course. Debate away. It's not perfect, but it makes sense based on the results on the field, the performance on the field, not based on our perception, not based on talent evaluation, recruiting rankings, not based on what we thought in July or what we expect to happen next week or in December, not based on what we think would happen if these two teams played. What would happen? For anybody who comments down in the comments section below, as I typically get, you can't rank that team there and that team there because if they played, this is what would happen. My response this week is simply going to be Alabama, Texas A&M. You know what? They finally played, and what we all thought would happen did not happen. Now let's get to the top 25 that actually makes sense based on, number one, the wins and the losses. The results on the field are paramount. Did you win the game or did you lose the game? Secondarily, it's got to be evaluated the performance on the field. Georgia annihilating opponents, quality opponents, has to be weighed heavily. If Georgia was the same 6-0 football team as they are right now, but they had won all those games by 1 point instead of completely terrorizing and annihilating teams, that resume would be a different resume. It would still be 6-0, so their standing in the SEC and their advancement to the SEC championship game and the college football playoff would be almost exactly the same. But their evaluation here toward a ranking would be much different. Still 6-0, still means the same in the standings, but the evaluation is different based on the performance on the field. Also, keep in mind that a result and a performance from weeks ago needs to be reevaluated every week. Georgia beat Clemson in week 1. That at the time was considered to be the best win in college football. It is no longer the best win in college football. It's still a quality win for Georgia, defeating Clemson. Clemson's still a good team, a quality team, a talented team. But that is nowhere near the best win in college football now. Iowa beating Indiana 34-6 in week 1. Impressive, but not nearly the quality that we thought it was at the time. Alabama defeating Miami, same thing. Other wins have gained in value. That has to be reassessed every week. Boise State put on a performance and a win at BYU. Oklahoma State's got a win against Boise State that's gaining value based on that win over BYU. All right, let's get to it. The top 25 that actually makes sense. Please leave your list down below or your comments or questions. We will get to them as much as we possibly can and probably follow it up with a complete video based on your responses down below. There are roughly 40 to 45 teams that need to be evaluated that just based on the standings and the wins and the losses, it's easy to see, okay, I've got to evaluate close to 50 teams here to break this down to a top 25. Also, remember that there's nothing magical about 25 teams. This could be a top 37. It could be a top 12. It could be a top 19. 25 is a random number. We will discuss that at another time. This could be the top 37 that actually makes sense. So there are teams that are just outside the top 25, whether it be my top 25 or anybody else's top 25, that are just basically just as good, are that much less than numbers 23, 24, 25. Those number 23, 24, 25 are just barely better or have just barely a better resume than some other teams that we've considered. Just like numbers 15, 16, and 17 are just barely better than 18, 19, and 20. Nothing magical about 25 spots. That said, at number 25, we've got the Baylor Bears at 5-1. Number 24 is SMU. They are undefeated. But check out the schedule. Difficult to evaluate the schedules as well. Keep that in mind. There is quite the entanglement between, let's say, Mississippi State, Memphis, Louisiana Tech, and NC State, those teams having mixed results against each other. There are a lot of situations like that. It's not nearly as easy as you think. Give it a shot. Number 25 is Baylor, 24 SMU, number 23 Arizona State. At number 22 Auburn, 21 is Florida. Now to the top 20, Texas. Oh, so close to being much higher than that, of course. Number 19, Texas A&M. Look at that resume. Number 18, Mississippi State. 17 is Arkansas. At number 16 is BYU, coming off his first loss of the season, but playing with a third-string quarterback. Top 15 looks like this. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon, Wake, Ole Miss at 11. Here's our top 10 that actually makes sense. Got Alabama at 10. Now we've got a glut of teams that are undefeated. And look at the resume. The resume comparisons are difficult. So just because a team's number 5 and another team's number 8 doesn't mean that it's not razor close. But I've done a deep evaluation of the results, the wins, the losses, the performance on the field. Cincinnati's number 9, Oklahoma State number 8. Kentucky's at 7. Michigan 6, Michigan State 5. An interesting comparison there, obviously, because they're rivals. They play in the same division, and they will be playing soon, but Michigan State's resume just slightly better than Michigan. Oklahoma at number 4, a team that for weeks and weeks and weeks I did not value because they didn't have the performance on the field, but their wins are mounting, and other teams are losing. This is not a ranking in a vacuum. Other results affect the team that you are looking at. Penn State's at number 3. How about that? They lost to the number 2 team in the country on the road by 3 points. They lost their starting quarterback in the first half. It went down to the wire. Penn State's at number 3. Iowa at 2. And there is no question, the number 1 team in the country. On the surface, this appeared to me to be a difficult decision for me to make between Georgia and Iowa. But once I looked at the results and the performance and the quality of the opponents and the dominance, Georgia is clearly the number 1 team in the country. Right here at the Voice of College Football in our top 25, that actually makes sense. Lock it in, college football fans. We've got a half a season to go. And it would be great for you to be here each and every day as we talk college football with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis right here at the Voice of College Football.